A 13-6 win on that map of Haven for Dark Zero, and they're one map away from moving forward. And also on the other side for Fluffy Aimers, one map away from maybe even facing elimination. Welcome back, everybody to VALORANT Challengers North America. Now, let's talk about this a little bit more because it was domination in that first half cycle for what Dark Zero was doing.
Oh, it sure was. I mean, we kind of talked about the Reyna here. Whether it being a feast or famine character, and talking about how we liked Corey on the Duelist, and was he going to show up? And he sure did, man. I mean, he's killing it on this Duelist, and not just him, it's B-Dog also, and just across the board. The way that Dark Zero were working the map on their CT, getting a really early lead by always taking team fights and really just disrespecting the plans of Fluffy Aimers and what they were trying to do. It seems like they had a read on the setups they were trying to run, the set plays they were trying to run against them, and they just were not falling into the traps.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point, because I think he's onto something when he says that, right? Because we saw Dark Zero. I mean, even before I talk about that, Fluffy Aimer's double controller comp thrives in the ability to deny information, right? To like create this sort of like big question marks all over the map to keep the enemy team from guessing. But Dark Zero, they weren't really having it. They weren't really respecting it at all. They were constantly fighting in front of it. They were challenging all the smokes, all the walls, constantly starving map control, taking away anything that Fluffy Aimers could have on their attack side.
Yeah, absolute just domination here. They had the read and they were running with it. Stellar doing some really good IGLing for the Turtle Troop, ex-Turtle Troop Dark Zero side, right? And we talked about Corey on the Duelist and how we like that, but this double Duelist setup with the B-Dog and enabling him, I mean, he just had a game, didn't he? And he's always been one of these guys that, he may not always have these pop-off games, but when he does, gosh, is it scary.
Looks so nice.
Between him, Corey, and we did, these guys are just locking it down. Reading what kind of zones, where on the map the zones that Fluffy were trying to take. They'd group up and re-clear them with team fights, trade out, and absolutely shut these guys down. So interesting from Fluffy Aimers to go with this, double controller neon pick. Usually it's something that takes a lot of work, a lot of deep playbook, and it just seems like, the thought was there. The idea of what they wanted to run with was there. The execution was just not. The pacing was a little bit too quick. It seemed like when their initial plans were going wrong and Bones got killed on the Neon, there was definitely a pause where they try to figure out, okay, what are we doing now? Our initial plan is gone. We have no other option, right? And a bit lost on the Fluffy side, but we'll see if they can, shake this off, shake this map loss off, and come back on Sunset a little bit stronger.
And that's the thing, that's the understanding of the way that Fluffy Aimers wanted to play this map, especially with the Neon Bones. As we know, this is a player that is not a B-Dog as we saw in this map. It's not those players that individually they don't need anybody else. You need that backup, that follow-up of Bones is going to go in, what is going to be there to support him, what is going to be there to set him up for success. And with the Neon, it does get harder. So it's just having the understanding of how they're going to play it out. And we've talked about it because we mentioned this Reyna, we mentioned how it can be very individualistic, but we also talked about Corey being very selfless and playing for the team. And that is exactly what we got to see, Psycho. We got to see a Reyna that was not just, sometimes the way that we see it for some players in Icebox, they're going in, they're getting their kills, they're getting out, doing their own thing. This was a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not Psycho, but I'll kind of chime in on this one. But now, whenever we see Reyna, we like to think that, individual playmaking, like walking down solo, but that was really not the case here between DZ and Fluffy Aimers. The Reyna was always part of some sort of stack or team fight, and they were always working with it. They always had these like really nice micro synergistic plays, and it was really just like level of game planning. And I mean, obviously it helps that the two duelists are having pop-off games, but there is this level of like team play that was consistently happening with the Reyna.
Definitely. And hey, all you Reyna players out there and ranked, especially the ones that are on my team all the time, take notes. This is how you play Reyna. You get support from your team, you trade, you take team fights, you're not lurking up mid alone. I mean, this is just a clinic from Corey, and something that any Reyna player who wants to get better at this role can look back at and watch.
Yeah, and just playing with the utility, with the flashes, with going in, with making sure that you're trading your team. This is something that we were seeing constantly for Corey and the rest of Dark Zero, which allowed them to have such a dominant first half. I think towards the end, we all saw it. They struggled a little to close it out, but it's fine. They were able to close it out in that 13-6. But now, as we've talked about it, and as we head into the second map, Fluffy Aimers is very close to being eliminated, and they need to win this map of Sunset, Roy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last time these two teams played, it did go into OT. It was a very close series between them. Obviously, I think the fact that they picked this map, Fluffy Aimers, they are coming in with probably an improved game plan. And I think we're going to be seeing that game plan come to fruition on the second map.
Yeah, and
There is that. Yep. Go ahead.
the last time these teams faced off, I mean, Pancakes had a game, and so did Neptune, right? I think everybody really from Fluffy Gamers was stepping up across the board. Can we see that from them this time? And will it be enough to get them across the finish line and get us to map 3 on Bind, which, based on the last matchup at least, went in the favor of Fluffy Gamers. So I think this is a map where Sunset, in order to stay alive, have to fend off Dark Zero here and stay alive to map 3. And in order to do that, everybody's got to step up across the board. This is not going to be an individual effort from Bones. This is going to be your support players doing what they need to do to get the job done.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering what's going to change. Sorry, right? Yeah, I'm wondering here what's going to change, because last time we saw Stellar on the harbor here, which is the first ever time I saw that. Roy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're sort of like in sync across the internet, which is amazing, because I was literally going to talk about that, and I was going to mention the fact that I'm very curious to see whether they are going to make changes to their composition and whether they're going to be keeping it, because Dark Zero is the type of team that is so flexible and so dynamic. They can just like snap of a finger, play a completely different comp, and still have this like stylistic change in the way they play and not try to like play like their old composition. So they're able to just like flick switches and completely change their playstyle. And I would not be surprised whatsoever to see a completely new composition come out from the Dark Zero side.
Definitely. And I mean, just looking surface level at the stat sheet, right? I mean, Stellar going 10 and 20 on the harbor, you may think, oh, okay, individually, he did not have a great game on the harbor. Maybe he'll go elsewhere, right? But when you add in that nuanced layer of this is your IGL, this is the agent that he's calling from. You traditionally see these harbor, even though he's a controller traditionally more used as an initiator. So you have Stellar on this initiator-like controller, kind of initiating the fights with the walls and setting up his team. And so, the question on my end is that a game plan that they've had hard encoded and something that they want to keep working on and improving, and maybe see if Stellar can improve individually on the agent, or are they going to throw that all out and come with a different game plan altogether? I mean, throughout the regular season, they did not have a coach, right? But as you reminded me, Roy, going into playoffs here in Challengers playoffs, they're working with data from TSM. So they do have a coach in the coach seat, helping them cook up comps and stuff. So we'll have to see what's changed here.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the harbor, but I want to know if they're going to continue to implement it, or that's something that they played out once and maybe they're hesitating about. Let's jump into the agents. I like that. Let's figure it out. Let's see if the composition here for Dark Zero is going to be different or is going to be about the same. And as we find out, guess what? It's not going to be any harbor to be played. The compositions, the crazy composition that we saw last time for the matchup, Roy, is going to go back to the standard.
Yeah, Fluffy Gamers are keeping it. They're kind of keeping it the same, but Dark Zero are going for a completely different stylistic change in their approach. They're swapping their initiators, they're swapping their controllers. Like, there's going to be a massive change. But again, I'm not surprised to see this. They are very flexible. They are a team that can play multiple styles, and I think this kind of works in the favor of Dark Zero, right? Because I mean, they have the footage on Fluffy Gamers. They know what to expect. But now Fluffy Gamers is in the question mark of like, okay, what is Dark Zero up to now? Are they going to play kind of standard with this comp, or do they have something sort of unexpected?
Definitely. And here's where we come back around to this point of the rematch advantage, right? Dark Zero have this rematch advantage. They know what Fluffy want to do in this comp. It's the same comp they ran last time, trying to overwhelm with the double initiator flashes. But Dark Zero coming in with a brand new look, a brand new strategy and game plan that Fluffy Gamers have no idea of what they're trying to do, right? So I like this pick of the fade from Stellar, gets them back on the initiator, gets them back to the double initiator setup that seems to be quite meta for this map. And I think it's an opportunity for Dark Zero to really close this out in a dominant 2-0 fashion, because like I said, if this slips away to Bind, I think it leans back towards Fluffy Gamers.
That slight difference between the two is going to be the fade and that Sky the Pancakes continue to play. Let's find out if it's going to be a Dark Zero 2-0 and that revenge ends up taking place, or if Fluffy Gamers are going to come back to this. Casters, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Desk. And I kind of wanted to start the conversation here, Wyatt, with what are you expecting to see in the terms of playstyle differences, knowing that Sky's on one side and Fade's on the other. Obviously, the extra flash is going to help out maybe a touch when it comes to what you're looking for Fluffy, but talk to me about how this Fade is supposed to work out for Dark Zero on this map.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's a significant difference between either of the comps, what they're going to be trying to achieve with the information gathering that both of those agents offer. The Prowlers and the Trailblazer are pretty akin to each other. The main difference just being the flashes that Sky offers versus, the Haunt and the Seas the Fade offers some of that potential synergy, of course, with the Raise Nade, other utility with that sees in certain situations, you know, trying to kill someone defusing the spike, for example.
Yeah.
So some small little synergistic differences, but the overarching idea is the same as far as the information gathering with the two. Wow, Fluffy Aimers so aggro, straight down mid, right off the jump.
And they're not stopping. That's just early utility now leading to essentially boxing Dark Zero in towards A main. So complete suffocation of the map at the moment. But the problem is they are split up a bit thin. Corey trusting that his teammates will deal with most of Mummy after Shock is through. And yeah, that's enough to get the isolated 1v1. Problem is the flank pressure is still underway. So Dark Zero either have to commit to getting the spike down and playing deep, or they have to play recovery on the flank. And they're kind of doing both at the same time here, Wyatt.
I like this from B-Dog. If he can get some support, maybe try to fight forward. No, they are going to fall back. They just have to cover a lot of different angles when you consider Jonah on the flank right now.
Well, the defensive retake going to be started with the fault line. That does affect B-Dog, but doesn't really do too much in terms of helping isolate him, at least not at the moment. It's really about this flight on the backside and a little wiggle and wag from both two players. Does have DZ coming out on top of the trades and then over the top of the site. Same situation at hand. Pancake's only able to take down one with him. So Dark Zero nearly caught as soon as the barriers get dropped, but they stay alive, they deal with it, and they get a really solid post plan as well.
They really caught Mame off guard there towards elbow. Was not expecting to be pounced on by so many players. The second he fired that shot, you could see in his eyes he realized that he messed up by being that close in that situation, was just going to get run down. It's exactly what happens. Dark Zero able to get that site. They post up nicely. They had a lot to watch. That definitely was a situation that was coming down to 1v1s. I mean, Stellar just took a straight up duel against Jonah. If he loses that, all of a sudden they're in trouble. But they were spread thin because of Fluffy Aimers' retake attempt from all those different locations on the map. But continuing from map 1 is the fantastic mechanical skill right now that Dark Zero have. They are on point.
Yeah, even with the tempo switch up, it just Dark Zero deal with it. It's just the individual prowess, like you mentioned, continues to bail him out of some really dicey situations. A little peek and push through mid. Also, simultaneously, the defense taking a scout in towards B main. Not much seen, but this presence at the backside of mid is an issue that Fluffy will have to deal with. At least, fortunately, they don't drop any bodies as of yet. And the defense could kind of just hold on the outsides of the map. And you got Pancakes watching one side and a double stack here at the front doors at B.
B-Dog taking contact against Bones will release that nade to alleviate a little bit of pressure in main. Door closed on market. Dark Zero really slowing things down, making all of this noise. And I say all this noise, what little noise they have made has been towards B. But that has dragged the Fluffy Aimers' attention towards there. No reason to not try to stack that site when you're on a pure eco.
Well, this is interesting. Stellar is just tossing all his utility to A to see if he can get Fluffy Aimers interested in a potential A hit, when in reality, it's all heading over towards B. And honestly, a lot of this has been bailed out for the simple fact that the weapons are just better, because the battle back for Fluffy on site has been pretty decent. Mummy down to one right-click worth of health off the Classic. And Pancakes, the sole member who was responsible for A, is going to be late to this rotation, but does have a Spectre, so maybe a chance, but B-Dog holds the angle at market, finds the kill, and Dark Zero takes the second.
Damn, that got close. I mean, that was a real chance. If he kills B-Dog there, Corey wasn't in position for the trade. That got really scrappy. It was a very light attempt to draw attention away from B when Stellar made that rotation to A main to throw that Prowler, you know, as a little reclear, trying to fake that they were going to go back. They just walk right into that gamble stack, and somehow even the Classics looked like they were two-tapping players down on entry. So some great damage done from FAIM. You can see the result of that in this shoddy buy from Dark Zero.
Yeah. Still, though, label it for what it is. It is still a bonus round, so expectations should be mitigated just a touch. Good defensive paranoia coming through. This is Fluffy Aimers trying to take advantage. Good delay off the fault line as well, but it only turns out to a 1-to-1. So once again, just when you think that the initiative for Fluffy Aimers is going to catch Dark Zero off guard, you now have a situation where DZ have battled back and hold the numbers.
Whenever I've seen Fluffy Aimers play this map on defense, Neptune really is happy to face down mid, even on the breach. Will happily take some of the engagements there, gets exposed for it. This was such a bad bonus buy for Dark Zero, would be a shame if Fluffy Aimers give this round away. They've given the B site away. On the retake, they'll have one flash from Pancakes, one Trailblazer, but Dark Zero get the spike down and just play for main. They won't be able to win this, showing us so much pressure.
Oh, man.
Player standing.
It's moments like that where you just say, Dark Zero can do no wrong. The isolation's absolutely perfect. Layering of utility, just as beautiful. And now Mummy finds himself in a pretty much impossible situation. The crossfire set up in here market is just one piece of it. You've also got the flank on the backside of it. Doesn't make a difference. So now what was a shoddy bonus round has turned into free upgrades, except for Stellar, who couldn't find a rifle. And Dark Zero is off to the races with Fluffy on a save.
That is a crushing loss for Fluffy Aimers. Crushing. I mean, normally Jonah is one of the guys for Fluffy Aimers that really, he has the hot hand. Like, he is a sick mechanical player. Had an opportunity there in market to turn the round back in his team's favor, but just could not connect with the Vandal shots. That is so tough.
Yeah. Legitimately sets this whole map off on the absolute wrong foot. Maybe a chance to play recovery here. It's not the worst half buy you've ever seen. 3 Stingers, 2 Sheriffs. Just comes down to, can you hit the shots? And more importantly, I think the issue here is that Fluffy Aimers have not been able to do any really kind of soul searching in towards of where these members are. So it's all about the contact. And
wow.
An impressive first shot from Jonah, just watching the pixel. It works out. Help is on the way here through mid. Paranoia forced a little bit earlier than you'd maybe like if you're Dark Zero, but they still get control of the site. Looking for what could be a deep plant, but Stellar is going to put a little extra influence deep in towards the backside of site, and eventually he'll throw out a haunt to allow the plant to come through.
Weedog ready to flash for Link. Allow Weedog to... We did. That's a sick nickname duo for those guys. Paranoia coming through, forces Stellar back. Stacked up into elbow now. Adder evens things up.
Clean. Just absolutely immaculate stuff. A decent opening attempt for Fluffy Aimers, but they cannot get back onto the A side to try to hold this any further by the look of it. Fault line at the ready. That will be exchanged with the defensive one, which does land. Maybe a chance for the double swing, but health pools and weaponry just too low, and that's enough for Dark Zero to get to a 4-0 count. And again, the economy is just... I mean, you could ship the banks to Switzerland right now with how much money they're carrying.
They're flowing so nicely in those A post plants. You know, fighting forward a little bit of pressure. They draw out some of the utility, fall back towards elbow, towards Link. And then once the Fluffy Aimers players are pressing into sight, the swings back together to fight. Really, really smooth play from Dark Zero on a map for Fluffy Aimers that I've been massively impressed by their play on.
Same.
They destroyed TSM earlier this season on this map, 13-1. They destroyed M80. I think it was 13-5 just after that. Oh, B-Dog gets a kill with the Aftershock stun,
Come on. At least the battle back is fine. Keeps some of the pressure on the one, but they don't know the Adder's here, and that will win the round. Oh, no. I mean, you're right. It's one of those things for Fluffy Aimers. This has been a staple for them outside of maybe one hiccup, which was the double overtime. They have really bodied teams on this map. And on the other side for Dark Zero, I mean, you may be able to label it as identity crisis. They've tried so many different comps, some successful, some not as much. And now we're getting a first real look at this version of this team. And I mean, the scoreboard says it all. 5-0 up, but look at the kill spread across the board. Adder 8-2, B-Dog 7-1 with 5 assists. He's been everywhere.
They really have tried so many different looks on this map, Dark Zero. I remember they started all the way back at the beginning of the year running solo Deadlock Sentinel here, the Harbor comp, a couple in between. They have tried it all on this map we did. Catching Pancakes. Fluffy Aimers on this low buy, attempt to go for a mid walk down. They keep pressuring, keep fighting. Great shot from Mame.
Trades get us to a 3v3. The big thing here is that Neptune still has the ability to punch out a Rolling Thunder, and there's help here. Information is mutual. Paranoia is out in towards the cyber cage we go. Almost an absolutely beautiful read from Adder. But instead now it's going to be trading of the Rolling Thunders back and forth. Everyone bopped up into midair, everyone affected by it, and that is enough to at least get us back to neutral terms 2v2.
Neutral terms aside from Neptune's lack of a rifle. Taking a fight, but gets shut down by B-Dog, and now it's all on Mame. The man who's kept this round close to begin with. The shots from the Outlaw upgraded to the Vandal. Do Dark Zero know that he's rotated towards main?
He may have a chance at this. Just comes down to, is this angle ever even scouted? Because, yeah, it's a free post plant on the backside at B. No one's seen on the initial crosses. Mummy giving himself at least some room to work with, but now comes the guessing game of how do you figure out what this post plant looks like. You know at least one's in the back, but you're still going to be worried about, did anyone rewrap me at market? A lot of things to think about. 2 dark covers to possibly play with. The Mummy can find a way to get them down. Instead, he's just going to go right in towards the backside of Boba. Not going to work out. Stellar there to meet him, and it's a 6-0 start for Dark Zero.
Keep hitting them like that, and
got very scrappy thanks to Mame. I mean, legendary offer. Put a scoped weapon in his hands and he'll make some magic happen. Doesn't get to do it as much as he used to, but when he has the opportunity to, he will find success with it. Unfortunately, that's not enough, and frankly, damage in that round, it doesn't even matter. I mean, you already mentioned it a couple rounds ago how good the economy was looking for Dark Zero.
Yeah.
They got 2 wins after that, so they are good to buy from here till eternity. A lot of ultimates into this round for Fluffy Aimers could be the catalyst of getting their first on the board.
Yeah.
They need it desperately, or their economy will be broken again.
And the half becomes essentially over at that point. When you're in that cycle of buy save, you've missed your opportunity of getting out some key ultimates. It just feels like this is a must-win round without question. But how do you want to try to spend stuff, I think, if you're Fluffy Aimers? The ability to retake site with something like a Seekers in combination of a Showstopper, yeah, absolutely. Especially considering that they're not going for any early barrier-breaking plays. Would lead you to believe that, yeah, Fluffy Aimers is probably just going to play for a retake. The Nightfall is out trying to bait over towards B, but the Seekers get called immediately, and Fluffy Aimers can just hold strong here. This has been solid in terms of reading the fake.
Yeah, those Seekers just shut the fake down instantly. Pancakes could be in trouble. Gets the first shot on the Adder. He's been looking crisp today. And Bones finds one down mid with a swing as well.
Oh, Jonah's prediction. Absolutely perfect. Just holds down the trigger for 2. And this has been absolutely beautiful from Fluffy in terms of what kind of response you put together. We did last one left, and just too much for him to chew. So a 1-6 count, but more importantly, it's just the Seekers that get spent there. So Fluffy Aimers able to stabilize their eco just a touch, and there's a chance to string some rounds together here.
Perfect timing on those from Pancakes. The pivotal moment in the round. Dark Zero trying to call a huge fake that just does not pan out positively for them. Committing the Nightfall to B. They had the whole site for free in that moment. They were thinking, oh damn, we should have just gone to the site. That was wide open. what are we doing? Faking over at A? That site had not a soul on it. But again, it just doesn't matter in terms of the economy. They are able to get another full buy here. Still have a showstopper for Corey as well.
And I will say, these dark covers to just allow free control of mid may be something to keep your finger on here, because legitimately outside of the last round and the opening pistol where Fluffy Aimers swarmed through mid, DZ's has been able to walk into mid for free, putting extra pressure on this market camera, which has been here more often than it hasn't. So that's going to allow for Dark Zero to essentially hit their execute, only have to focus on the backside of the site. But once again, FAIM just sitting back saying, we'll play retake, that's fine.
Yeah, Dark Zero content just taking this site, knowing that it's been pretty light. Jonah not ready for we did, but instant trade from Neptune to keep things even as Dark Zero retreat to B main to play those passive positions where you can just spam the spike out in the open. I mean, Corey can really spam it. He is a showstopper.
Oh, and Adder still playing on top of the site here. Oh, good return. Neptune able to find the kill. Surely the showstopper is spent to clear out B main here for the defense. And this is going to be the call. Paranoia is spent with that. Corey trying to battle. It's a battle of rockets at the moment, but Bones beats DZ to the punch. Prowler out. Corey able to find the response. Now to the 2v2 situation. Hot still in play. That's going to be enough for the reveal, plus the follow-up onto the spike being defused. Perfect post-plant hold for DZ. Just enough separation to not get caught by Bones. And that gets him back to a 6-round differential, a 7-1 count going into round 9.
Corey plays that in such lovely fashion. The movement, playing off of the haunt that Stellar throws back in. Also, fantastic decision from Stellar in that moment. Pretends like he could be wrapping through market, runs to mid, just breaks the door, and then circles back to assist his 2 other players in main. Really heads up little decision from the IGL to just throw a little confusion in the mix for Fluffy Aimers when they're already in the midst of a hectic retake.
Here we go, a little bit of tempo change here for Dark Zero immediately in towards the backside of A. Spy cam is still activatable though. Hasn't been seen yet. That could be big in terms of trying to find some quick information on possibly fulfilling a retake. But you gotta wait for the rest of the FAIM to get your paranoia spent. And how about this Dark Zero trying to challenge the backside of A, and that will work out for the Neural Theft now also getting into play.
Oh, feels like Jonah really wants to be a hero there, standing his ground, trying to take duels open to multiple angles. At least does get his. Could have been disastrous if he got fully double swung. It just goes down straight away. But it gives opportunity for Fluffy Aimers to get back in now. Paranoia through. Smokes down.
Adder had been seen initially, but he does stay relatively safe from a lot of the incoming utility. It just comes down to, does he get the angle correctly? No, he will not. Great fault line though for B-Dog. He's not spamming it correctly initially, but the diffuser does go down. So now it's just down to B-Dog. And he may have a chance for a little bit of a lineup, but Mummy holds the issue up close and personal. Should be plenty enough time for Pancakes to get this diffused. And it will be a second round for FAIM. Maybe a chance to start to bring this thing back now that they're going to be able to carry rifles into the second consecutive round.
1 second even left on the clock there, perfectly timed. On that retake from Fluffy Aimers, the utility was perfect to get back in. And knowing that there was a bit of pressure being applied by the clock, they proactively fought for elbow together in a really nice fashion. Just cobbling together any rounds they can right now. They're going to need at least a couple more to stay in this game when we get to the second half. And back on Haven, it was a total blowout in the first half from Dark Zero, 10-2.
Oh, yeah.
Fluffy Aimers need to do better than that here.
Without question, but once more, Fluffy Aimers going to give up most of this A site. There is some utility in the way, so that could slow down this approach, while the rest of the defense is going to try to make a play to re-wrap through B, and maybe a chance for Pancakes to put a little bit of extra pressure on the flank. The trap wire does get deleted, so Adder will be the next one up to try to responsibly hold this flank while some spam shots come through. Spike, though, planted. And honestly, for Adder, with just an outlaw in hand, he really can't hold on to the position, so now Pancakes from behind can actually do some work.
This is going to be really tough now. They were feeding B-Dog the orb and gave him the plant to get the rolling thunder activated. Great trades from Stellar. Now that all the players are in the front, that rolling thunder can get a lot of value. Connects with 2.
WD can still just hold strong on this angle. They have to clear out both at the same time. Flash is starting to come out. Trade initially. B-Dog down to 2 HP, but slips away, gets the fault line out one more time. How is he still alive? Stellar's back into the picture now. Mummy by himself on the corner, cannot jump peek the angle. And Dark Zero, heroics from Stellar initially, but B-Dog and the Rolling Thunder lock up round number 8.
God, the retaliation from Stellar on the flank there, finding 2 to trade things out even. The IGL for Dark Zero has been individually massively impactful in these post-plant situations. Fantastic 2-piece, but even more crucially, because of that, it allows B-Dog, who had just gotten his Rolling Thunder up in that round, to be able to focus it on where all of the rest of the retakers are coming from, rather than having that split attention. This pace from Dark Zero is electric right now.
Oh, and Corey was in a little bit of trouble, but still sneaks away. The paint shells will make sure no one else holds that close corner at A main. And that is enough for Dark Zero to back off and just take this 5v4 advantage the rest of the way into this round. Split focus now back over towards B, where it's just Jonah with a Sheriff, and he's got a lot to worry about. So figured that this is going to have to be some sort of a Pistol Guardian Stinger retake for FAIM on the B zone.
Immediately pivoting into this hit with the Nightfall, which once again reveals that this site is being held very, very lightly. Deep position from Corey, catches Mummy totally unaware.
And that puts the round out of question. I mean, you needed the smokes or the paranoia in some form, but instead, it's Dark Zero getting deep over towards Boba. Bones last one left, and it will be a blacklight flawless in round 11, a 9-2 tally. And Fluffy Aimers find themselves only a couple of rounds away from being eliminated. Must win here, feels like, without question.
This DZ team just looks totally revived from the early grave that Blinn almost put them in by knocking them into this lower bracket. But with We Did back, the morale high, they are firing on all cylinders. Oh, they haven't given us a chance to breathe in the last 4 rounds. The pace is crazy. There's maybe, what, like 2-3 seconds in the last one where it slowed down for the rotate, but that's it. I mean, are we going right back to Fast A? Yeah, we are.
Yep. Oh, with a showstopper out, why not? Clears out the site. Pancakes does receive a little bit of damage. We Did also gonna just get deep here from the shadows, and Corey's gonna try to follow up for the trade, maybe looking for a second, but FAIM battle back. Pinstripe goes the kill feed, 3v3. Spike, though, makes its way onto A.
For a brief moment, going to slow down as Stellar gets the plant in. B-Dog low HP, Adder playing forward. Cage timing is terrible. Sends him to the grave. Now it's a 2 versus 3. Couple low HP players, though, for Fluffy Aimers. Could be exploited by Stellar spraying through the box.
Oh my goodness, Stellar. Doesn't matter if he's revealed, he just holds his ground like no one else. Just down to Pancakes. Flash, good to pop him forward for the first. To snap over to B-Dog. Even fight here. Both players low on health. Pancakes trying to force the issue, but B-Dog is gonna call his bluff. Not once, but twice. Oh my goodness. Now Pancakes has to try to hold this, and even off the halfway, B-Dog still calls out the bluff. Do not play poker against this guy.
He read him like a book, didn't flinch on either tap. He was playing super far back as well, expecting that he would have tried to push up, taking the fight to him in elbow. Didn't move an inch. And again, that's just all smiles for the Dark Zero players. Back-to-back maps, back-to-back 10-2 halves from Dark Zero. They are so on point right now, so locked in. Stellar is looking fantastic.
Yeah.
This man is trying to get straight back into the partnership league.
What do you say? They're just hitting a little different today. And by a little, I mean a lot. Hitting a lot different today. Paint shells, Han all the way deep over towards that front side at mid.
Cage triggered.
Fluffy Aimers not interested in trying to play for anything off the top of the barriers dropping, though, so instead it's just going to be kind of a laborious push over towards B, leaving this DZ defense just kind of guessing just a touch, but at the moment, they've stacked the right site. And we're going to get some quick burst contact here as the initial shoulder is thrown. Corey on the close corner. Team shots are good. Fault line aftershock combination has Corey isolated, so we will go 1-for-1 off the initial exchange.
Decent enough for Fluffy Aimers right now. They have a Trailblazer going up towards A, but Jonah in the smoke catches We Did, getting a little bit too adventurous. Didn't necessarily need to push that far. B-Dog trades it right back. Just individual attempts. Feels like in some of these moments, Jonah really trying to be a hero, but you can't blame him when the team is down this far.
This timing could be absolutely miserable if Stellar decides to try to hunt this out through backside B, but instead they're going to wait for the contact first. Stellar will eventually sneak through tiles. Flash will give some extra consideration towards the fact that this is going to be a B hit. So we're going to get a 3v3. It's going to have to likely be retake here, though, for DZ.
Right out of
Ball line for a bit of delay, allowing time for Stellar to work into B. This is all a distraction for the IGL to capitalize.
And the first shots are perfect. Follow up good, but Neptune keeps us tight. Pancakes changing things out, leaving it just down to Adder. But Neptune's only on 40 points worth of health. The only benefit is he does have 2 flashes, but instead it's just going to try to play for the angle, and Adder puts him to bed. A decent chance for Neptune, just doesn't have the health pool to make the classic work, and DZ take the pistol and get to 11.
And it looks like this game is over. Fluffy Aimers obviously needed that pistol round. They obviously, with the spike going down, they have to force on this next one. A decent enough utility from Neptune to even things up. Jonah caught another in the smoke just after that, but as the trades went down to that 1 versus 1. Adder's just looking too good at the moment. Neptune had a chance. He had the time to take that first shot, but couldn't connect it to Adder's dome. And it's 11-2.
Right there.
On the precipice of getting knocked out of the Challengers playoffs. What Fluffy Gamers have been working towards all year long might be slipping out of their grasp.
Oh, goodness. Here we go.
Got
We
the
did.
spike.
First blood decent. DZ still looking to push through this. Neptune all just wanders into danger. And the paranoia even connects on this flank attempt over through Market.
Enemy remaining.
I mean, come on. What are we talking about? Go to 6, last one left, and keeps it interesting. A chance to upgrade the weapon. The paint shells force his hand. Jonah still responding, but it's Stellar on the long angle to overwhelm and get DZ to series point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's making content. We're just making content at this part of the game. It is over. The confidence is just flowing for Dark Zero. They are going for the silly individual plays. They know they're winning this out. They are just flowing together perfectly. They are, I mean, again, this is the first match of the lower bracket. They got knocked down to it immediately, but with play like this, a crazy run is nowhere out of the question for this team.
Wow. This is what you wanted to see if you're a DZ fan. We did back. We love that. But to do so and possibly take this series in 2 convincing maps, that kind of resets the entire energy. But only for a touch. I mean, if they end up pulling this out, we still talk about the fact that the lower bracket is not going to be easy, especially considering that they would have to play up against Oxford Esports next. But first things first. See if FAIM could find something here in this market push through. We did an early paranoia gets spent. Follow-up flashes are in the mix. The crossfire setup is here, but FAIM come away with the first 3 eliminations, and that's going to lead to a B plan.
1 enemy remaining.
Jonah catches Corey on the rotate as well. Stellar long range with the Spectre not going to have a great time against the Guardian. Fluffy Aimers are trying to go after this man. Oh, hold up. Don't throw, guys. All right. We're good.
Say it's Stellar after all. Like, if anyone were to do it.
No one beats my firepower.
Okay.
I got this.
So FAIM will at least get to a more significant purchase. Problem is, you still have a long route. And there are a lot of tools on the table. I was going to say, if Stellar pulls out a solo operator.
I was looking at that too.
Oh my God, that would have been sick.
This is how we throw. And honestly, listen, I'm kind of. I'd be. You know what? I'll let him do it one time. One time he's allowed to buy the op for no good reason of a 12-3 lead.
I'm here for it. The ultimate
Hero
power
Vandal.
flex.
Hero Vandal's fine though. It's a little bit less of a power flex. It's kind of just. It's actually not really that much of a flex at all. It's gotta have some money. It's kind of just not a flex.
Just the social norm, honestly. Especially with how he's shooting. But it's Adder to kick us off with just flat out a vanilla peek through B main with a Sheriff. And all of a sudden, you're going to put Weeded into a sneaky spot that has to be cleared. Otherwise, he's probably good for at least 1. Adder's still holding onto the camera, so he's going to try to keep focus on the main doors. This could get nasty, especially with Weeded holding on to a paranoia, but the fault line comes through, and he has to teleport back towards safety. There's the paranoia, and that's enough to keep FAIM pushed off B main. This is working out okay for the defense.
The clock is ticking down. 40 seconds. Jonah exploring through market. Great shot onto Corey. Opens up the B site. Opens up market for his team to rotate.
Oh, almost gets caught. Tossing out a trap, though. So now FAIM have to rotate back through Boba, but Stellar gets caught. The number is now good for FAIM. Follow-up, brilliant from Jonah. And this will likely be another round for FAIM here. Pending that there's no more heroics from Adder, who has kind of snuck his way back in towards mid, but B-Dog would have to try to get some sort of an isolation with the Sheriff over through Boba if this were to have a chance, you'd think.
Adder would need to win this first. He's ready for it. Great jiggle. Peak shuts down his Cypher counterpart. Earl Theft. A lot of information now.
Player standing.
Yeah. Adder, good for the opener. a chance at this to try to maybe isolate, but it could just be an easy swing. Although it doesn't happen.
My
What?
God,
No!
that
Shut
is
it.
inhuman.
Shut up! There's no way that just happened.
What? He's just waving at the camera.
Oh, there's no freaking way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Corey's going crazy. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't. Okay, boys. All right. Can we get off this camera scene?
Can we switch switch it to someone else?
I'm
Switch it to
uncomfortable
us.
now. I'm very uncomfortable. Holy smokes,
That was a little too
though.
much.
That is stupid. Why? Help me. Just help me.
That was all a little bit too much. That was all too much. The ace, whatever the hell Corey and we were doing, there was a lot going on. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to go get a water and get out of here. No, that was a sick performance from Dark Zero, though. They are back.
They are back, and that last moment is just things that make you go crazy scenes. Back to the desk, though, to break things down and have our post-game interview.
Thank you guys. Yeah, what just happened? What just happened in that last round to close it out? An ace and also a Dark Zero when they continue to move forward in this lower bracket. We talked about the two teams, and unfortunately some fluffy gamers that we have to say goodbye to for this year of Challengers. But on the other side, a Dark Zero that look dominant, unstoppable on that map number 1 and on that second map as well, Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about coming in, how this confidence boost, would affect the team, right? We said this is an opportunity for Dark Zero to really dig deep and play for something greater than themselves. And, will that affect their performance? And oh my gosh, has it affected their performance? These guys are just elevating it to another level. They're playing off each other perfectly. Their chemistry, their trades, their positioning. I mean, it is just well scripted right now, and it's something that fluffy gamers just absolutely could not contend with. They have this aura around them right now as they're competing, and oh man, It's fascinating to watch.
I mean, we expected Dark Zero to have an edge on this series, but to this level of an absolute blowout is kind of insane, to be honest. Obviously, commiserations to Fluffy Aimers. I mean, they're a very promising roster. I'm really confident that we're going to see a lot of their players in VCT in the future. But this Dark Zero that we saw today is a very terrifying team to play against.
Yeah, Roy, and I think
It was an...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's an important point, right? Like, I think the fluffy aimers here, even though the score line is 13-3, I think it doesn't really show, the flashes of individual brilliance that the fluffy aimers players were able to show. I mean, there's a lot of rounds where these guys are stepping up. Jonah P, or I'm sorry, not the way that these guys were, stepping up individually was really fantastic. Their team play just fell short, right? Jonah 6 had a really great round in B main rather, that I thought was really fascinating, but just did not have a teammate there to support him. And it's something where these players, I think, do have a great future ahead of them. But the display from Dark Zero here, the aura that these guys are playing with, the chemistry, the cohesion is just unbeatable.
It's insane. It's great to see. I know that Dark Zero, they have a lot of fans from everywhere watching and supporting them, so they continue on this lower bracket run. And as we've said a couple times already, Fluffy Aimers, we have to say goodbye to. It was still a pretty good year for them. They have the youngest players that we have in Challengers, Bones being the difference maker for a lot of the rounds, a lot of the games that we got the chance to see throughout this year. But a Dark Zero that continues to dominate, and we remind everybody, this is the favorite team. This is at least one of the two favorite teams to make it all the way to Ascension. So we're going to see if that's going to be what's going to end up happening for them. A lot of people, again, are rooting for them. We're going to throw it to the series highlights, though. And when we come back, we have an interview with Corey.
Nailed them. Player standing. One enemy. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Spike planted. One. Spike down A. One enemy remaining. Thrifty. 10 seconds left. One enemy remaining.
were just tuning in, is a Derek Zero who takes the win against Fluffy Gamers 2-0, and they continue on this lower bracket run. And now we got the chance to talk to Corey for a post-match interview. And Corey, first of all, congratulations on this win. I really want to ask you, what was that celebration for all of you guys? Is that something that you guys do? What are the vibes right now?
I don't know. It's like something Matt does, and it's just so funny. I don't know. It's just like, it's just contagious. So I don't know. It keeps the vibe up for whatever reason. It's just stupid, but you know.
Yeah, even some of our guys at the desk were doing it too. It's definitely contagious, and you can see the celebration for all of you. Now, getting a little bit more serious, I do want to ask you about the Reyna that we got the chance to see today from you. We've seen you playing a lot of different duelists, a lot of agents, a lot of initiators. You played a lot of agents, but that Reyna, it's something that we haven't seen in a while. Tell me why you guys played this double duelist.
It was just something like we've been practicing with Ruckus a lot recently, and Matt actually had the energy to come play again and just come back and play, and we don't have any reps with Matt recently. So I mean, we were just struggling on Haven before, and we just switched up our composition, but we picked double duelist.
Well, that's a flex. You switch it up, you run whatever, and you get away with this win, and it ends up working out really well. One of the things I also wanted to talk about is last time it was pretty recent that you got the chance to play against Fluffy Gamers, and they got that win. So what changes from then till now? Obviously, you're saying that Rockus was playing for a couple of the scrims, practicing a lot. So what changes for you to get that 2-0 win today?
I would say last time we played them, it wasn't really like a high stakes game at all. It was just like a free, like, we knew we had first seed, and the match really didn't matter too much for us, to be honest. For them, obviously, it mattered because they get better seed if they won. So I would say it wasn't really high stakes compared to this, where it's all or nothing. And I think our team strives into the pressure.
So is that also why you played that composition back then of Sunset, and now you go back to the standard?
Yeah, we were just cooked crazy on that map, to be honest. For like the game that was like, it wasn't super important. It was definitely fun to actually play the composition because it was like new and interesting, so then we cooked up really quick. But with Matt, we have protocols and stuff on Sunset with these comps, so just fits.
And my last question for you here is, a lot of people are supporting you guys, are following your journey, and are hoping for the lower bracket run. But in order to make that happen, the next match is going to be against Oxygen, an opponent that you know very well. Last time you got the win 2-1. So what is it going to take to win again against them and continue the lower bracket run all the way to Ascension?
I mean, we just got to keep our vibes good. I think we're a really heavy vibe team, and if we keep that going, keep that rolling, I think we'll be good. So all we're focusing on.
We see it with the celebrations, we see it with the way that you guys are playing, with the way that you're dominating teams. So we're definitely hoping to see a lot of more of you guys as the lower bracket run continues. Thank you so much, Corey, for joining me for this interview. This is everything that we have for the post-match interview, guys. We're gonna throw it to a break, but don't go anywhere because we have another elimination match right after this. It's gonna be TSM going against SAT. We'll be right back.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.